What up, Mo?
What up, Chief?
Man, listen, bro. It has been a interesting time. That's such a weak word, but appropriate.
It covers all bases for you at the
It
moment.
does, but I feel like, I'm not a linguist, but I feel like me being loquacious, like I think I know enough, words that I can leverage to say, but interesting has been a word that is appropriate, right? And so let me tell you a little story, if I may.
I'm all ears.
As we start off this episode. By the way, I don't even know, like, what episode are we in? 200 what? 215 episodes, bro.
Yeah, I think that this is 215, isn't it?
Golly.
Yeah, 215. Yeah.
Man.
Shout out to us. Who'd have thought when we started with a red Solo cup?
Bruh, I'm excited,
and
man.
sitting in a garage driveway.
Facts.
Who'd have thought?
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right, so yesterday, let me tell you a little story that had happened. I'm sorry, actually it was Sunday, excuse me. Sunday, my church has 3 services. I think it's like 9:30, 11:30, and then 6 o'clock.
Okay.
If you don't get there, before the next service starts, right? You're going to run the risk of not really finding a seat that you want to sit in, and you're going to run into traffic and everything else. So I decided early on in the day that we're going to the 6 p.m. service.
Okay.
My daughter and I, we kicked it. It was lovely, man. Had a fantastic time. Shout out to them a little bit. From there, we go to church. We do our thing. We come back. It's 7:30ish, or whatever it is, 8 o'clock. I know she's hungry, so I'm like, look, let's go get something to eat. I called in an order. I got some Thai food. Called the place up and was like, yo, what time do y'all close? They said 9 o'clock. I'm like, good. Let me put my order in now, but I don't want it ready until 9 o'clock. You feel me? So in the interim, I'm going to run a couple of different errands, go to some grocery stores because I got to get her lunch ready and things like that. We get to Walmart because I just needed to grab some, she wanted to paint my nails or whatever. So she was asleep. So I let her sleep in the car for probably another extra 20 minutes or whatever it was. We then proceed. We go in, we do the shopping, we get it done. We come out and she's like, hey, I want waffles for breakfast. Say less. You know what I mean? So I flip over to Sprouts because they got the whole grain waffles, trying to feed the baby good, you know what I mean? Make sure that she's getting good, nutritious food and everything. So I go to Sprouts and Sprouts is about a mile away from my house. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a story. This is a personal anecdote of God and showing up on time. Okay. So, and we haven't even talked about this. So this is the first time that you're hearing of it. So as I come into closer towards the parking lot, there's some speed humps, not even speed bumps, but speed humps. And, it is what it is. It's 9 o'clock, almost 9 o'clock at night.
You just rolled through them.
I rolled through them. Not in a fast way, but I'd certainly rolled through them. We get to the parking spot. I get out. I walk behind my car, go get a little bit out of her car seat, and I hear this hissing noise. I'm like, that's strange. Is that gas? Did I puncture the underneath? No, my first thought was that I puncture something underneath the carriage of my car. And I'm looking, I'm not seeing nothing. I'm not seeing no dents on the car or anything like that. So I'm like, F it, whatever. So we proceed. Now, it was a short grocery list. I needed to get a couple things of fruit. I tried to get the organic fruit, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, and we got some waffles.
Okay.
Right? It's a quick trip. So we're in, we're out, and we proceed to the house. Now, I live exactly 1 mile from Sprouts. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Sprouts. I love this. I love that store. Little, about $1 more on everything, but I don't have to deal with the commotion of a Walmart or a Kroger. So Sprouts is my jam, right? So we get there, or excuse me, we're coming home, and like I said, it's a mile, so it's not far, and probably 6.5 of a mile to my house. I hear this, and I'm like, that's a flat tire.
Yeah, that's what to say.
So let me show you how good God is, bro. We're riding, and I'm like, that's a flat tire. So by the time, and there's a particular way that I take to my house, which kind of forces me to go up a hill into my neighborhood and to my house or whatever. So by the time I make that turn, I can feel it. I'm rolling on damn near on my rims.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And we make it to the house, and I park my car in a way that, if I have to get it towed in the morning, because I don't know what's going on. It's at this point.
Let me just get through the night.
Well, it's that, but it's also dark, right? It's nighttime. So now I'm thinking to myself, okay, in the event that this has to be towed, let me deal with that. And the reason why I had that mental posture in particular was because I had to get her home. I knew I needed to do all the daddy duty chores of bathing, feeding, getting ready for bed, and all that other fun stuff, right? In addition to that, we gotta take care of Boston, make sure that he gets his walk. So that, by the time you look up, you're 45 to 60 minutes done. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I know I'm not finna change the tire at that time.
Nope.
But I'm thinking to myself, okay, in the morning we'll change the tire, we'll get it rolling, whatever. So we get home, I look at the tire, it is flat. And I was like, damn, that's fast. You know what I'm saying? So as soon as we got in the house, we go upstairs, and I call her godfather. I'm like, yo, I need you to help me get her to school in the morning. This is a situation, blah, blah, blah. He's like, cool, I got you. I'll be there at 8 o'clock, boom, boom, boom. So fast forward, next day comes about. Breakfast is ready. Of course, she had the waffle. She loved it, whatever. My boy hits me up, and he's like, yo, I'll be there. Do you want me to bring an air compressor or air pump? I was like, yeah, go ahead and bring it, mind you, I haven't been outside outside of me walking Boston, right? But I haven't been outside to really look at the tire because it's dark and you can't really see anything anyways. And I knew I wasn't going to be out there changing the tire. So at this point, it's daylight. It's morning time. He comes by. He throws the pump. It's an electrical pump. He throws the pump on the tire. He's like, hey, I don't think this is charged. Can you charge it up? I'll take you guys to school, and while we go to school, we can charge it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I'm like, cool. I charge it up, and he said, hey, bro, have you looked at your tire? And I looked at it, and I finally was in a position where I could see it. And you can see this massive slit on the interior wall of the tire. So as I approached my vehicle, I look at it, and I would say, it's a circle. Tire's a circle. I would say 80% of that tire has that entire slit in a nice, easy fashion. It's just perfectly, ripped.
Okay.
So I'm like, man. Now pause. I talked to my mom, who's a massive woman of faith, and I was sharing with her this testimony, right? That could have happened on the highway because my church is 25 miles or so, and we're on we're on 635, we're on 75. You know what I'm saying? Those are a major thoroughfare. Yeah, those are major thoroughfares, and to be covered by His grace, right? That could have happened at any point. Throughout that journey, and I've been in a car where we've lost a wheel before, right? Now I was 17 years old or whatever it was, but to have your child in the car on a major highway in Texas, that I think we have 3 of the top deadliest highways in the country. You know what I'm saying? And for God's provision and protection to be over us, to make sure that all of that happened within 1 mile from my house, and for me to just walk out of the car, no problem whatsoever. I was my mindset, you talk about growth, right? My mentality was never woe is me, this is fucked up, I'm mad, I'm angry, or whatever. It was thank you. Thank you for making sure that I was super close to my house so that I could, take my daughter inside with no problems, no scratches, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, that morning we look at it, it's completely split about 80% on the interior wall of the tire. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, I got work. I know I got a meeting at 9. I got to get this child to school, and I got to fix this tire so that I can
do what you got to do.
Do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? So long story short, and for the visionaries that are rocking with this, by the way, this is just a personal testimony for everybody. But I'm out here trying to fix this tire, right? And everybody knows how to change the tire. Pop the jack it up, jack the car up,
pop the lug
nuts off, pull the tire off, put the spare tire, pull it down, you're good to go. When I tell you that the enemy was ever present and trying to stop everything, I finished my meeting at 9:30. Come out, and I was really toiling with, okay, do I work or do I need to take care of this or whatever it is, right? So I decided to just go ahead and get the tire changed, because it shouldn't be 15, 30 minutes, 45 minutes at most. I proceed, literally, bro, at every turn. So my daughter's godfather gave me a jack. Jack wouldn't work. Oof. I go to my car. I have a jack in the car, right? Pull it out. It's not coming out of it's like almost encased in the trunk.
Won't come out.
It won't come out. So now I got to go get a screwdriver and try to unscrew it. But the screwdriver doesn't do. I mean, the screws that are holding, it's not even holding it in. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what is going on? I'm not a small dude, and I threw up 405 at one point. So I can move weight, and this is a jack. I mean, it's 10 pounds if that, and it's not budging. So finally, I was like, okay, well, screw that. Let me just try to get these lug nuts loosened. Then I'll jack the car up once I can get this jack out. Bro, my tire iron would fit over the lug nuts. And again, I'm not a small dude. You know what I'm saying? And I may not be 24, but I can still move some weight. And they're not budging. Like, I'm not able to change the tire. So then I'm like, okay, well, let me try to get my spare tire down in the meantime.
Okay.
So the key that goes in, they equip everything in the car, and you put the key in. Typically it's in the back, and then, you put it in a little hole, and you can wind it, and the tire comes down. Well, unbeknownst to me, there's a plastic, there's a piece of plastic that is blocking my throughway to get to the tire, like the hole of the tire key to ratchet down. You know what I'm saying? So I look up at some point, and I think at this point I've probably been out there about an hour. I look up, and a couple of neighbors had walked by, and this, that, and the third. No big deal. Everybody, nobody said anything. But I see this tow truck. Now this is at the time of this recording. This is Tuesday, right? Mm-hmm. But this happened on a Monday where I was trying to fix the tire. I look up and I see this tow truck, and I'm like, my first thought was, did one of my neighbors call a tow truck for me? Like, how kind is that? You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
that's pretty dope. So, and then I realized that he's stopping about 5 to 8 houses down. So I'm like, okay, let me just see what this dude's talking about. So I start to approach him in a way that, is non-threatening, right? But he's walking around this vehicle. He's recording it. And I'm like, oh shit, is this dude repoing somebody's car? Man. Like, I don't live in that type of neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, is this dude repoing somebody's car? Which to me, because what I'm finna ask him is, hey, can you help me? But if you're repoing a car, you got to get in, get out. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like, thank God I've never had to deal with that. But like, that's the reality of it. They're in, they're out. But this dude was like, he walked around the vehicle like 3 times and he's recording it. And then he just like gets into the Lexus. He gets in the Lexus and starts it up immediately. So I'm like, okay, this can't be a repo. It's got to be something else or whatever. So I feel a little bit more at ease with it. And he gets the car, pulls it out into the street, and he's got this, flatbed out there, and now he's getting ready to pull it in. So as he's, walking towards his car, approaching him, I'm like, yo, is this a repo? He's like, no, it's not, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, cool. I said, hey, here's the situation, man. My tire is flat, and I cannot get these lug nuts off. Do you have a power drill or anything like that to kind of get it off? He said, man, here's the deal, bro. We're swamped. We only have 2 trucks working. I don't know what my schedule is. Let me look at my schedule and see what's up. I said, cool. I thought to myself, whatever. Let me just go back to the car and try to fix it. Now, mind you, I cannot get these lug nuts off. Mm-hmm. You feel me? So I get back and I start working on the car some more. And I promise you, 5 to 8 minutes. Couldn't have been longer than that. A white truck, like a white service type truck, comes and he stops where the tow truck guy is. So it had to be super short because the guy hadn't left yet. Okay. He has a quick conversation with him, and then I can see him pointing down towards me. The other truck, the white truck, comes and approaches me. He's like, hey, are you having some tire issues? I said, yeah. I kind of explained what was going on. Buddy got out of the car, said, hey, well, you need to jack your car up more. I said, well, listen, dude, I understand how to change a tire, but I can't get these lug nuts off, so it's pointless for me to jack this car all the way up and then have to bring it back down anyways. Like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, oh, okay, I got you. So he said, well, let me get my power tools and see what I can do. And literally, zip, 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 6, 8 times, whatever it was.
He pulled the NASCAR machine out.
Yeah, 100%. Got it off. And then I explained to him, like, I can't get my spare tire down. So he helps me with that. We end up getting the tire fixed, no problem. And when I talk about, like, God showing up in that moment, and I think that he showed up because it was a test for me, because the old me would have been mad, frustrated, pissed off that all these things are happening to me versus happening for me, right? And so it was just an interesting start to my week, to say the least. And so, of course I had to bless the dude. I said, listen, I can't allow you to help me and me not bless you. He's like, no charge. Okay. Like, dude wasn't even finna charge me, but man, what you don't understand, my boy, is that you just saved me $300 for a new tire. Mm-hmm. Plus, if I had to get it towed, that's probably another $300. And to get it towed just for, because discount tire and the other little,
he saved from a whole can of worms.
Yeah, I mean, at least $600-700. So I'm like, man, let me bless you real quick. So he was like, no, I'm good. And I was like, no, I don't get down like that. I said, so I ran upstairs, wrote him a thank you note, gave him $25. I said, man, the least I can do is buy your lunch. You know what I'm saying? So that was a start to my week. But I'm so and I'm excited, man. I have such an upbeat spirit right now, and it's really cool to see God at work in your life. You know what I'm saying? Welcome back to the Vision Lab podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Cuffey, alongside with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Mosley. The Vision Lab is the official growth mindset podcast for all visionaries worldwide, and we're showing mad love to the cigar community. It's here in the lab where we uncover people's visions and dreams and how those dreams actually come into reality. Folks, it's all about tapping into and becoming the absolute best versions of ourselves through self-discovery, self-examination, and self-actualization. Mo, I'm excited. It's just you and I today. We're wrapping it up, letting people get, in behind the curtains, if we will. And we're on the brink of another Father's Day, man. So before we go any further, let me tell you, happy Father's Day, my boy.
Thank you, sir. Happy Father's Day to you as well.
Much appreciated,
and man. Happy Father's Day to all the dads up there.
Absolutely. Shout out to all the dads out there. Show up for your kids. Be a part of their lives. Make sure that you are instilling the values that you want to see implemented into their lives so that they become productive members of society. And, we started off that story, my personal anecdote of what happened to me on Monday, and I just think it gives a lot of credence to, the way that our mindset is how we are going, is what we're projecting externally, and that's what our kids are looking at, right? That's what our kids are seeing on a daily basis. I mean, I think especially with the emergence of social media and everybody being able to see everything at all times, we're so exposed to how somebody was brought up, effectively. And I'm not trying to put a blanket statement out there that, whatever mom and dad said in that household is how that child is functioning in society. But for the large majority, right, like my 3 E's, right, your environment, experience, and exposure, because of who or whom you are growing up with, it has a major impact of the way that your mind works, the way that you are functioning in society, and whether or not you choose or choose not to be a contributing member of society. And so, I don't often do this, but in those moments of that, that tire flat, and having the mentality that I have, I never allowed my daughter to see any level of frustration, right? I never allowed her to see me in despair. And I think that a lot of times when we are absorbing those feelings, we project that externally, and our kids are picking up on it. We've got to do, especially fathers, right there, out here. We've got to do a good job of being the model for our young queens and our young kings. And both of us are very fortunate because we have daughters. Like, I've got 2, you've got 1, and I tell you, man, like, for me, it is my greatest joy. There's not.
It's the best job in the world.
Yeah, there's not a thing that I would rather do than hang out with my daughters. I don't care if it's me on the sidelines at a basketball or volleyball game, or me getting my toenails painted by my little one. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to kind of dive into fatherhood for a bit.
Okay.
And talk about that. I mean, there's it can spawn off in many directions, and we don't do cue cards, we don't do notes. This is literally, no pun intended, but it's off the cuff. And so, talk to me about what fatherhood means to you.
So that's a heck of an onion to peel.
Jugular right there, right out the gate.
Heck of an onion to peel, boss. Beyond responsibility, I think it's you get a real understanding of what it means to be selfless, and what it means to put your needs and wants to the back burner to make sure somebody else is truly taken care of. Marriage is one thing, right? When you're married, there's sacrifice, and there's a form of selflessness to that too. But you're married to another adult, right?
Ideally,
right? Yeah. For those of us in successful marriages, yeah, you're married to another adult. But when you're dealing with a child, somebody who, until they get up on their feet and gets to establish some level of what's the word, independence.
Yeah.
You are responsible for their well-being. And I think when it comes to being a dad, it's cool because you get to guide them in those formative years. And, my daughter could care less about the work stuff I'm doing. I pick her up from school, and it's literally it's go time.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Like it's I've never seen anything like it in my life. Like, she is on go when I pick her up from school every day. So to really take the deep dive into it, it's just truly being responsible and having a true understanding of what it means to be selfless in regards to another person.
And it should be. And, I think our conversation is going to be bent to our experience in that we have daughters, right? I don't know what it's like to raise a man. I do fervently believe that it takes a man to raise a man. We can argue all day long about that, but I know that there's a lot of single mothers out there, and this is no disrespect, like, it's all love, but I don't believe that a woman can teach a man how to be a man.
Yeah, I said it, during my 40th birthday, right? Like, I think I'm a good dad, but there's just some things that I am not going to be able to teach my daughter because I don't know what it's like to be a woman. Right. Thank God for my wife.
Right.
Right. But thank God.
What's interesting is I've been doing a lot of reading of late, right? And you got the what is it called? duality of our minds are duality, right?
The dichotomy of
dichotomy of duality, right? So there's a male and female end on everything. Of recent, one of my favorite shows is Life Below Zero, and I just happened to catch an episode where I believe that the mother left the family. I don't quote me on that, but he takes his 3 daughters out and they're fly fishing in Alaska, and he's like, listen, my daughters are princesses, but they're princesses that aren't afraid of blood. You know what I mean? Like they can go fishing, they can stick their hand in there and they can gut a fish and all this stuff. And the reason why I bring that up is because it's about balance.
Yep.
Right? I just don't believe that we should be so heavily tilted one way or the other. I think that, you talk about family and the family dynamic, the way that it was supposed to be constructed. Now, not how it's currently lived out. That's a different story.
Yeah.
But the way that it's currently, the way it's supposed to be constructed is father, mother, kids, right? So that you have that balance there. Now, I understand things happen. Of course, my situation, like I'm not in that right now, right? But I think when you're talking about raising daughters, it's okay to provide them with a little bit of that brute. Right.
Oh, yes.
To complement and accent that femininity, right? I can never do what my daughter's mothers do for them from a feminine perspective, but I can also give them game,
yes,
from a masculine perspective, and I think that creates a very well balanced child that can ideally be a contributing member of society, right? And so, when you talk about fatherhood, to me, I love the fact that you talked about being selfless, right? But as a father of 2 girls, like it touches and pulls strings on you that you did not even know existed.
Agreed, 1,000%.
Camera can't see it, and I'm not going to show it, but I've had my toenails painted for weeks because the 4-year-old wants to do that, but that's a bonding moment. You know what I mean? And far be it from me to say no to for lack of a better term, like crush our vision or dreams or goals of just trying to connect. So I think it's important that we learn to meet our kids where they are.
Agreed.
Because that invokes trust. And if I can get you to trust me, then I can tell you simple things like, hey, don't walk across the street without looking because your ass is going to get crushed by a car. You know what I'm saying? Like, once I've created that bond and that trust, you're going to listen to me. I can discipline you. So, we there's some affirmations that I've been teaching both of my daughters, more presently, my youngest, right, on helping her to understand her value, her net worth, her worth, how she will be a contributing member to society, and how you don't let external forces or influences penetrate your mind, right, to make you feel less than at any point in time throughout your life. But these are the things that I've experienced that now I get the privilege and the honor to make sure that she's well guarded against. You know what I mean? And so, like, for me, fatherhood really boils, and it kind of wraps into like a husband as well, but like fatherhood boils down to 2 things: provision and protection. That's it.
Yes. Yeah. That is it. Yeah. When you really boil it down to brass tacks. Yep. As you were talking about, the affirmations, and my wife beats me to the punch every morning. It's her and my daughter repeat, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, and I'm wise.
That's it.
Every single morning. It's funny you talked about, having a daughter, it touches you in places you didn't realize that you had. And I remember somebody asked me, like, and anybody knows me, like, it's hard to get me unnerved or to have me unhinged. And I will hurt you over my wife, but I will be on the news gladly behind my daughter.
1,000%. It's that
front
feeling,
page, and will be with a smile on my face.
Yeah, it's that feeling of, of being animalistic, right?
Yes.
Like, you can fuck around with me. I'll take it. Maybe I won't. Whatever. But like, it's no discussion.
Yeah, I've told my wife like
it's not even a discussion if you come near my child.
When it comes to little mom, I'm not asking questions.
No, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, we'll figure that out once the house is blown down and everyone else on the other side is completely erased, and then I'll be happy to answer questions.
And that's what a father should do.
Yep.
Right. Under no circumstance should you ever. And again, I know the conversation is bent or slanted towards girls because that's what we have. Right. I can only speak authentically because of we have.
It's our lived experience.
Yeah, for sure. But like, there's a dynamic of it being a child, number one, and then it being a female, number two. But we're gonna keep it positive and on the uptick or whatever.
If you're a girl dad, you understand what we're talking about.
1,000%.
And if you're not, it's not meant to cut you out of the conversation. We're just telling you what it is.
Yeah, and so the responsibility of sharing your experiences through a lens that they can that understand and operate from is one of the greatest joys that I get. I don't care if it's practicing our writing, understanding how, with my oldest, like why you need to compete because you're going to always compete in life. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that you need to feel that you're better than somebody, but you certainly will never feel less than somebody. And that's what competition is, right? Let's try to bring out the best. And so it's just interesting because the oldest is knocking on the door. She'll be in high school next year. Dang. And I know, bro.
Oh nice to be in high school.
Yeah. And that's a real thing, man. And it's scary, truthfully. Cause I know where I was in ninth grade. Oof. I know where I was as a sophomore. I damn sure know how I was as a junior. And you can say karma's a bitch, but I mean, it is what it is. And I hope that the conversations, the information that I'm trying to get her to download.
You hope it sticks.
It sticks, and let's have a moment of vulnerability here, right? As you get into these really impressionable years, my biggest concern is for her to ever think that my dad doesn't fill in the blank. I need to check that box at every turn. Because I have indulged, I have made this truth, right? When you know that a child or daughter has daddy issues, those things can be taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so I feel it incumbent upon me to make sure that that you're always loved, always cherished, always honored, always respected, always heard. That you can always come to me with anything. I don't care what the situation is. I may not like it, but the rule that I have for my daughters is always tell the truth.
Yep.
I don't give a damn what it is. If you did it, own up to it, and we can figure everything out from there.
Yeah, we'll figure it out on the back end when the smoke clears.
Because I promise you, if you can tell me up front, I can help you, massage the situation a bit better, right? Or at least be there for you in a capacity that I can protect you. But if you're lying, I don't know what to defend. I don't know how to, go about moving or navigating in those type of waters. Because I don't know what real is. I don't know what truth is. But it's I don't know, man. It's just it is a different agape love.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely it is. You're talking about hanging out with your two, right? And you're right. Like I tell my wife all the time, right? Like I'm to the point now. Like I want to leave my house to conduct business and record. Like there are few and far in between times where I just leave the house just to hang out. Like I don't have that kind of time. Like I tell my wife all the time, like I don't necessarily enjoy being away from her and my daughter. I enjoy taking my daughter to Kid Strong on Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
Or, from time to time, she'll go fishing with me, or we'll go to the playground, or I'll watch cartoons with her, or I'll play putty games, like whatever it is she wants to do. We're in the house. Like I thoroughly enjoy it.
So let me ask you this, because, we kept it a buck and we always do, but what's the hardest part about being a dad? I
would say being dad to a girl, right? Because I already know, like, I don't have a son, but the things that she does, I would handle a boy way differently.
Bro, I would be so strict on him.
Yeah, I'd handle a boy way differently.
And would be unapologetic
and it's not the fact that she gets a pass on anything, because I don't give her a pass on anything, but I just handle it a different way.
Yeah, you have to be softer.
Yeah, like, because I understand the way she looks at me and who I am to her, I can't swing the hammer on her like I would a young male, because it'll crush her.
I learned that. I'm a little bit older than you, right? And so, and Anaya is like older, but I tried that. And there's levels to it, right? So like you have the dynamic of her being a female, you have the dynamic of her being younger, and then you have the dynamic of her growing up in this generation. Mm-hmm. And it's not the same of when my mom or dad were to scold me for, if I got colored outside the lines, right? It's not this. You can't come down with that gavel with that same force now like they could back then. Mm-hmm. But you could do it in a different way with this. Like the intensity is the same, but it's just a different type of force.
Yeah, and I get the same. I get the same result / outcome as I would if I was handling a young male, but I have to execute my point in a different fashion.
Yeah,
that's what it is. I have to execute in a different way. I mean, that's the one thing I think about, like. The stuff that I had to like talk to her about or ask her to do, or the way I asked was like, man, my mom and dad were not going to ask me to do whatever it is I just asked you to do, in the way like you get a pass in that sense because you're a girl. But it's just like, oh man, like there would have been no conversation if I'd have done this as a kid.
Yeah.
It'd been like, hey, what the hell are you doing? Versus, hey, can you come take a look at this for a second and let's talk about why I'm asking you to do this a certain way? And it's like, man. Like,
I don't know if I'm going down that road.
Look at the grace that you're getting. It's because you're a father, and I'm lucky and blessed because part of it, she's just high on life. Like she's just excited. Like when she's
everything's new.
Yeah, everything's new. So I know there's no malicious intent or anything like that. She's just happy about. If I say, hey, we're about to do this, okay, she's just gonna run and get ready to go, and I'd say, hey, slow down for a second. Yes, we're about to go do this. Can you close that door real quick, or can you turn that light off? Just the little things. Like, again, it's versus if you're dealing with a boy. Hey, we're about to do this, and there is no like, no, you know what the protocol is before we even step out of this door.
So I've got nephews, right, and I compare this to like a boxer. Get in, get out. You make your point, you get out. Like I'm not their parent. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to go against whatever parental lines that they're coloring in.
You understand.
I know my role.
Yeah, and you have two sane siblings, so you're okay.
But neither here nor there. But like, I do have an obligation to my nephews for them to see me in a certain light, right? I need them to see what it's like to see a successful black man. I need them to see what it's like to see a respectful black man. I need them to see what it's like to be a loving black man and all that stuff. But, when I need to make my point, the point's made. And we're yes sir, no sir all day long. And then I go back to being the fun uncle. So that's what I'm talking about with that puncher's stance or positioning, right? Like I get in, get out, and we cool again. And it's not my place to be their parent. So that's kind of my extent of kind of raising a boy, but from a distance. You know what I'm saying? If I were to have a boy, believe it.
Thumb on him.
All day.
Oh, yep.
Militant.
Foot on the neck.
Militant. And my parents weren't that way with me. And I feel like I came out okay. But I think
it's a different time, though.
It is.
It's a different time.
100%.
There's so much. I think you said a long time ago. There's so much, and not even just for kids, just for people in general. There are so many external. Let me be grammatically correct. There are so many external stimuli in today's world where, the worst thing you could imagine when we were kids of a certain age is like, oh, a guy who wants to sit in his house all day and play video games. That's the worst. Now these kids have phones and they know how to work computers and electronics and all. I remember when BCIS was like, man, you got to take BCIS. You got to make sure you get that computer credit. Like, And
wow, I can't believe you went back to BCIS.
Like my 5-year-old knows how to perfectly work a cell phone and can work a cable system and everything, right? So there's just so many external forms of stimuli in today's world where it's just things have just changed and evolved to where like you just got to handle things a little bit differently. The lessons and the baseline, I think, the baseline of things, I think, is still the same for those of us who still believe in some of the old school ways. But it's just a different way of having to kind of, you said, get your point across and having to get things done.
So I'm glad that you brought that up. External stimuli. Have you ever watched The Chi?
Yes.
Okay, it's my third favorite show.
Okay.
Kevin is the young boy that actually witnessed the murder, and you watch his growth throughout the entire series. He ends up being a gamer. Now his mom and stepmom are like, yo, well, really, it's more his mom, like, yo, you can't do that. So let me pose this to you and get your thoughts, because what you're talking about when you mentioned gaming, it triggered for me, right? Like, with the world evolving and technology rapidly changing
all the time,
you know, we grew up Sega, Genesis, Nintendo, all that stuff, right? No one ever thought of being a gamer.
No. Not
but
at all.
now little Johnny can sit in his room eating Doritos and cheese puffs.
Yeah, he wants to be ranked as a Fortnite player.
And he can be and make more money than you.
Yeah, this is true.
So how do you curtail that with the responsibility of being productive in society?
Get your bed in early. Like I ask my 5-year-old once a week what she wants to be. That and there are no video game systems in my house besides, you know, her playing like a kid game on a cell phone from time to time if I'm trying to cook.
You could substitute anything for video games.
Yeah. I get my bed in early. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And as of right now, she wants to be a dentist. And that's been what it's been for the last 3-4 months. She wants to be a dentist. And I told her the other day, all right, cool. Do you want to start reading books at nighttime about how to be a dentist? She was like, yes, Daddy. I said, okay, cool. Because giving them tools, that's another thing I think about fatherhood. Like, before I leave this earth, I got to do everything I can within my power to make sure she has the tools, like you say. Some people say to survive, to be a productive member of society. I got to do everything I can to make sure she has either the tools or access to the necessary tools to where she can have a fair shot at living the life that she wants to live for herself.
You know what? I want to give you a quick shout out because you just challenged me. Okay. I don't want my daughters to be productive members of society. I want them to be thriving members of society.
Yeah.
I love that, you know, for me, first of all, I love the fact that you are engaged and involved in knowing what your daughter likes. So she wants to be a dentist, so you're reading those books. For me, I put a more of a spiritual or religious bent to it. And so every night we are praying and we're reading the Bible. We read the same chapter every night, Joshua 1, every night, because I never want her to be afraid of anything, you know. We read Joshua 1 and we say our prayers and we do a spiritual affirmation as well. But I love the fact that, you know, both of us are but we are involved to the degree that we need them to know what they're, you know, you can do whatever you want to do and we're here to support you. Yep. And I want to change I'm very particular about words, as you know. I want to change that from productive to thriving member of society, because every parent wants their child to do and progress further than what they did. It's a relay race, right? Like, you got to take it further than what I took it. Yep. And I plan on stretching this mother out. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have to go, but I got to equip you with the tools so you can go even further than I do.
Yeah, that is the deeper we get into this, like, and I mean, obviously, you know, this is not about my entrepreneurial journey, but like, that's really, as I sit back and think about like the bigger picture of all this, is I am trying to equip the next generation of my bloodline with the necessary tools to where they can take it farther than I can see, and I can see pretty far down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, hey, Zoo, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a dentist. Okay, now we've even got it down to, okay, do you want to be a dentist for little kids or for grown-ups? She's like, for grown-ups, Daddy. Okay, cool, no problem.
Yeah.
And so literally I got books about dentistry in my Amazon cart. And so, you know,
don't hit that purchase button, bro.
Oh, bro, there's so much stuff on Amazon cart. I got to get my next book knocked down for this.
I got 3 for you.
Yeah, another conversation, sidebar. Anyway, but yeah, if to not they're not surviving, but thriving members of society, productive, like just. My mom used to always say, I want you and your brother to be just decent people. And while I understand exactly where she was coming from, because you watch the news every day and you just see stuff just in the atmosphere, and you're like, man, there is a lack of human decency in a lot of levels of society. But when I come back to like the concept of being a dad, it does circle back to what you said earlier, like provision and protection.
That's it.
It's my job to make sure that I do everything I can to keep her protected, and at the same time provide her the provision, i.e. the platform, or to give her the tools in order to be successful. Now I'm gonna do all I can to give her the necessary tools. Now if she gets to a certain age and decides that she just don't want to use them, all right, that's another conversation.
Yeah.
But it can't be.
Then it goes to pivot.
Yeah. But it won't be. My dad didn't try, or my dad didn't do this for me, or whatever. In the event that I didn't, you will know that I completely exhausted all avenues in order to try. At least I tried.
Yeah.
That's just kind of my thought process on it.
No, I completely agree. And I'm entering those waters right now, right? Like the waves are getting more rocky for sure. Anaya's 14.
That's insane. That's crazy. I know you for a long time now, bro. Whew.
She's 14, and she'll be a freshman in August. And both of my daughters are good. Like, they're not bad kids. And Anaya, and specifically, kind of, especially with her falling in love with volleyball, like I'm so in love with that, because that gives a child to sink their teeth into something, right?
And we know productive.
That it's productive, and it keeps you out of the way. But not even if she didn't like volleyball, right? Like, she's just not that personality. But that being said, with all these external influences, you don't know what's out there. You don't know what impressions are being made to a very amenable mind.
Yep.
Right. And so, as long as I continue to reiterate the love that I have for her, the belief that I have in her, the desires that I have for her, I think that she'll be okay, because she does have a fantastic mother. I think that, me as a father, I'm certainly there for her and everything else. So, but you're in those waters, and when you start talking about women, I mean, not to get into a like biological thing, but like, you got periods, which means that there's a changing of the attitudes. There's a changing of like this estrogen that's in their body. And it's like, okay, how do I navigate this? You're bobbing and weaving, or should you be weaving and bobbing? You know what I'm saying? So, but it's fun to a degree. It is fun. But there's an element to it that exists where you want to make sure that they always know that you're there.
Yep.
But not suffocate them, because if you suffocate them, I think there's
that's when they rebel.
Right.
The second they get free, they go nuts.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like you suffocate them, so there's a tendency to rebel, or they kind of push away, or whatever it is. So you want to. I'm a big boxing fan, so you want to stick and move. You want to stick and move. Like, I want to make my point and then get out the way, let you absorb it and deal with it, and then I want to stick and move. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I kind of look at it. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but it's certainly kind of what I'm dealing with as a father of a teenager. And then let's not even get into the fact of, a boy likes her.
Oh, wow.
And I got a boyfriend. Like,
I already told my wife, my mom look at me crazy.
You can say what you want, bro.
No, I've already told them, like, I get it, right? She will be of age, and one day she's going to be like, hey, Dad, can I go somewhere with this guy? And my response has not changed since my mom and my wife brought it up to me one day. And it'll be very simple. All right, cool. What's his name? Where does he live? Let me go talk to his parents. And I will politely explain that if she doesn't come back here the way she left, he won't make it home. And if y'all don't understand that, then she's not going anywhere with him. Or if you got a problem with it, we can just get out in the street right now. And my mom's like, you can't act like that. The hell I can't. She's mine.
No, I mean, I get that. But the thing
You're
is,
laughing at him, but that's the truth. You will understand once you have a child.
the thing is, you're not with her 90% of the time. So while she's at school, you have no control.
I'm talking about this whole dating thing. I understand the school part.
Dating is an umbrella expression.
I mean, given what we've just seen in the news over the past couple of weeks, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that, but what I'm saying is like when I don't know how it was in Mesquite, but you know we used to go together. You
Wild
know what I'm
times,
saying?
but that's a whole nother podcast.
But I think, but either way, but like you know, we used to go together, and you could do whatever you needed to do between the hours of 7 a.m. or 7:30 a.m. till 4 p.m. You ain't there, my boy. You out trying to get construction deals, land deals. I'm out doing marketing deals, yada, yada, yada. You're not there. So there is that element to it. And I think that it's inappropriate and irresponsible for us to not understand that. I think the advantage that we have is that we were there. Mm-hmm. We know what that was like. Yep. So now you know what those waters look like. Let me navigate those waters with this child, particularly with them being females, and just have open and direct conversations.
I tell my daughter now, like even if you don't like a kid at school, like you can come tell me anything. Like I've already planted that seed. You can come tell me anything. I don't care how good.
Yeah,
or bad
I don't think you're picking up what I'm putting down.
I know what you're saying. Okay. I know exactly what you're saying. Like if you break a glass in the house, like if whatever, please come tell me. Just like you said, like come tell me what happened, and then we can figure it out.
100%.
But do not keep me in the dark.
100%. So I'd asked you earlier, you know, what scares you about fatherhood, right? And that's the thing that scares me. You know what I'm saying? Is that you do all this work for 14, 15, 16 years, and then all of a sudden, for a female, right, you get the fluttering of the eyes, the twists of the hair, and then everything that you've been doing for those years goes out the window. That's my fear.
I haven't thought about, like, quote unquote, what scares me as a dad. Just it's more like, what am I preparing myself for, or what is it I need to make sure I'm aware of? I hadn't thought about what scares me. Well, but I understand your sentiment, though. Yeah, I get it 1,000%. Like, there will come a time where, like you said, she will spend the majority of her time outside of my presence versus in my presence. Yes, I understand that 1,000%. I go back to my job is to make sure I try to equip her with as many tools as possible in order to navigate the bullshit.
Yeah, and you can do that. And then all of a sudden, little Ryan comes up to her. I can say that because we're both Ryans. Ryan comes up and he's you know looking at her the way that he needs to look at her, and she's picking up what he's putting down.
This is where it's like, well, yeah. Again, I don't want it.
No. Let's talk about it because that's what it is.
I look at it from a standpoint of like, my daughter is going to be cultured thanks to my wife. Like my daughter is 5 years old. She's been all over the globe. Not the globe. She's been all over the United States or whatever. She's done a lot to be a 5-year-old. And so I'm, you know, between me and my wife, we're going to have it to where she's just going to understand how to navigate some things. Now that doesn't mean she won't make mistakes, right? That's just life. Like
sure. And that's what I'm talking about.
It's one of those things to where I'm going to try to make sure.
But no, Mo, but hold on.
She can restrict the self-inflicted wounds.
Hold on.
She's end up being a Scientologist, bro.
Hell, come on now, hell.
But that's what I'm talking about. You this is exactly what I'm saying. This is good because like if you're a 20-something right now and you need to understand what's out there, you know, 10, 15 years from now, but like for the next 10 years, you're going to be downloading information for your daughter. There will come a point in time where all of that work will be in peril. It'll be
tested and challenged.
It will be tested and challenged. And not to say this is a pass-fail situation, but certainly one in which they'll be able to authentically make their own decisions based off of how they feel. And then you, as a father, will have to deal with said consequence or said decision. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of my greatest fear, because
this is where Chris Rock was talking about keep your daughter off the pole.
Yeah, well, however you want to look at it, yeah, for sure. But like every parent out there wants the same thing that we want. Like we're no different. but there will be that point in time. And so my question to you is, especially as fathers of daughters, for me, like that's the biggest fear. So for you, you're talking about, well, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. Yeah, it sounds good in the playbook, but you and I both know if that guard steps out and didn't move the way that you thought he would, and you were supposed to, blitz the B gap.
Your second step becomes real important.
So what's the second step? What's the pivot? You know what I'm saying?
Second step in hand places everything.
There's not, and so this is fun dialogue, right? But like visionaries, especially our younger visionaries, there's not a playbook for this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to move with your heart, your spirit, your soul. And as long as you have the core tenets and the vision of where and who or whom you want your children to be, like that's your north star. With that being said, let's get real, because that's what we do on the show. How do we deal with the things when we don't expect the unexpected?
I get the question.
You see what I'm saying?
When the unexpected happens, essentially.
Yeah.
When the unexpected happens, well, I mean, that's a buzzword been used for a while. You have to have the mental fortitude or capacity, the stomach, whatever term you want to use, to be able to realize, like, okay, it is time to adjust. You got to have that first, right? Before there's actually an adjustment made, like you got to have the wherewithal, the internal mechanism to say, okay, this happened, and you got one or two choices. You can fold up shop, or you can figure something out, and you might have to make as opposed to taking exit 15 off the freeway. Well, exit 15 through 18 might be blocked off because of construction, detours, whatever. Well, maybe I got to go down to like exit 21 and reverse and figure out another way to get through, or take a service road or a back road, whatever. But have that internal mechanism to where it just doesn't like, oh man, the way I wanted to do it didn't work, and so I'm just going to quit. Like, no, we can't do that.
So I think the reality of it is there's not a blanket answer.
Not at all.
And life is about evolving. I've, like I said, I've been reading pretty extensively over the last month and a half or so. And ironically, and this actually is coming to me right now, but like each of those books that I've read is talking about you're constantly evolving. Mm-hmm. So as we may have this vision of how I would like my child's life to unfold, if there happens to be a pivot, you're going to have to evolve inside of that moment.
Indeed.
And pull out, from your experiences. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's like if they break something or they spill something in the house, they do something, like you can either have an emotional reaction and have a full-blown meltdown, or you can say, hey, all right, cool, this happened.
I'm laughing.
And as opposed to, flying off and snapping or whatever, one, again, you can't crush them, but you have to adjust. And I think when we do that as parents, you model before your kids that, like, okay, sometimes stuff happens and it's all about how you handle it.
So there's two things. Let me say this. That happened on, I guess it was Monday. Harper decided to put toilet paper down the sink.
Oh, wow.
So luckily it didn't go all the way down, so I could kind of tweeze it out, and pull it out. We had a conversation about it, but that could have cost me hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, because she decided to stuff toilet paper down the bathroom sink. So I had a conversation about it. But, a lot of times we kind of come into these situations and we're like, I'm going to be cool about this, and I'm going to talk to him and explain to him, like, hey, this is why you shouldn't do such and such. And that's what we think they're understanding or they are receiving. But a lot of times the message, and me personally, I can speak to this, like, and I'm sure you can too, the message that your parents were trying to communicate didn't land with you, or it didn't land with me. Maybe it lands 20 years from now. Oh, that's what mom was saying. That's what dad was saying, right? But I think a lot of times we feel, first of all, you got to understand that we all operate from this space and this mechanism of you. If I explain it to you, you're going to see what I see. That ain't the case.
Yeah, because everyone's got a different point of reference.
Right. So every parent is going to say, hey, tell the truth, never lie. That's a good thing. Cool. But then not only do they lie on social media and every other place, but that's another story for another day. But the message that you're saying that you really want to resonate and hit home isn't the message that they receive. It's a different message. It may have the same tenets, like don't lie, but it's not going to hit the same because they're going to receive it differently because they have different personalities, different different mentalities.
Yeah, they're different makeups.
They're different makeups.
They're different
so I just
makeups
think a lot of times, a lot of parents try to say, "Oh, my kid's gonna." No, they don't understand what you're trying to do. No. They don't.
Unless you figure out how to truly explain it to them on their level.
Even then,
and within at that point, exactly. You can try it, but then sometimes we know kids make up their minds they want to do it. Sometimes they got to learn the hard way. Unfortunately,
but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying I'm trying to send a message, like you were talking about earlier, right? Just now. That may be your message. They may do the thing that you say not to do or to do, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever. But the reason is different from what you wanted them to receive.
Yeah, their motivation.
Their motivation is different. So it's just interesting because a lot of times I think parents say, my kid will understand what I'm trying to tell. No, they're just going to do what you say.
Indeed. Good idea, Chief. Good idea.
No, it's good, man. Parenting is something that is the greatest joy and can potentially be the greatest achievement of your life if you do it right.
Yeah, we're just coming off everybody seeing their kids graduate high school and college.
Yeah.
I met with a guy a couple weeks ago, and his daughter just graduated from Grambling, and he's like, yeah, man, he's like, I can't believe it.
Shout out to GSU.
He said, I can't believe it. Like, I had her when I was like 21 years old, and he's like, I didn't know what I was doing. And he's like, to watch her graduate, he's like, nothing but the grace of God.
Shit got real for me, man. Like when you're talking 4 years, like literally, I could blink, and this is 4 years from now, and my baby's graduating. My firstborn is graduating.
Are you gonna be the obnoxious parent like the Wayans brothers were when the daughter graduated?
You already know I'm not. I don't even like. If we want to peel the curtain back, I don't cheer for my daughter. I don't.
They just caught somebody's attention.
You're supposed to do that.
Another conversation. we should have an episode about the things you should do, the things you're supposed to do.
Why? Why should I? I mean, after the game, I'm telling her, "Great job, I'm proud of you," but I'm not rah. Because here's the deal: you played sports, and I'm sure you played all the major sports: basketball, football, soccer. At some point in your life,
I did football, basketball for like a year or two. Baseball lasted 1 year because I hit a home run and I got hit the next game with the ball, and I was like, "That's it."
Point being, how many times do you remember hearing your parents in the stands?
Not much.
So what's the point of me yelling?
Not much.
I'm not doing that.
Not much.
But after the game, I'm coming up to her. Hey, I'm super proud of you. If I am proud of her, if she didn't do good, like I'm not that parent. Like I'm not the parent that's going to be like, you did good and you didn't do good. I'm not going to say that. But I'm also not going to frame it in a way that is discouraging. Hey, how you feel like you did today? If she played bad, how you feel like you did today? Okay. If she did good, hey, great game. Gotcha. And that's how I do it. But mentality wise, like they're not there to understand the difference. All she knows is that my daddy was there. My daddy came and talked to me. My daddy supported me. But I'm not gonna be the rah.
You're not gonna be the parent they make videos about.
Well, I'm very fortunate because I was a decent athlete in the school district that she plays in. So I get, I'm I'm either on the floor, or if it were a football game, which obviously she doesn't play football, but like I'd be on the field. I'm away from everybody, but I do that intentionally so she can see me. Mm-hmm. But I'm never gonna cheer. I'm never gonna clap and be like, "Great job." No, because I wasn't that player either.
Very, very interesting.
We can break it down. Hey, I'm not afraid of it. You know what I mean?
Good. Very interesting.
No, but this is dope, man. To all the fathers that are out there, you know, we have this ability to talk about our children because we're invested into their lives. We're invested into seeing them being prosperous, for them being thriving in the community. We want to see them do well, and I encourage every father out there, be a part of your kids' lives. Make the time. I know we got a lot of things going. I know that we're trying to provide. We're trying to provide that provision for our families, but make sure that you don't miss the opportunity to have the connection with your child. It's so important. So I'm grateful for the uncandid conversation, and this is literally raw and uncut. Take one. No cue cards.
Indeed.
So
Much appreciated, Chief.
yeah,
Indeed.
man. Hey, to all of our visionaries that are out there, remember each one of these episodes is dropping nuggets of wisdom on the trail of life. Ultimately, it's up to you to pick them up.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Mosley. He is Ryan Cuffey, and we'll see you guys next time on another great episode of the Vision Lab podcast.
Blessings.
Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Happy Father's Day.